Okay, picture this. A shaking cigarette. Seems like nothing, right? But that tiny tremor, that little detail, it ended up exposing the most damaging spy case in U.S. history.
Incredible, isn't it?
Absolutely. We're talking nuclear go codes compromised,
Yeah.
potentially setting up the West for defeat. It really shows how small things can have huge consequences. So, welcome to the deep dive.
Great to be here.
We dig through fascinating conversations and pull out the crucial bits for you. Today, we're diving headfirst into a really compelling discussion with a former FBI agent,
That's right.
someone who spent 25 years catching spies, figuring out human behavior, mastering negotiation, the works. This is for you if you want to get smart fast, find those aha moments without getting bogged down.
And hopefully make it useful, applicable stuff.
Exactly. And our guide has, well, incredible credentials, 25 years FBI, mostly counterintelligence.
Yep.
Also a surveillance pilot, SWAT commander, involved in behavioral analysis, now teaching, writing about human behavior.
So I had to pass on what I learned, yeah.
Our source today is this really wide-ranging talk. Body language, spies, negotiation tactics. It's all in there.
It covers a lot of ground.
So our mission is simple. Extract the key insights, the practical takeaways, and yeah, some pretty shocking news you can learn from. Ready to jump in?
Let's do it. What's fascinating right off the bat is how much wisdom comes from being, right there in the thick of it. High stakes, human interaction, national security. But the lessons, they apply way beyond those fields.
Totally agree. And one of the first things we got into was just the basic skill of reading people.
Fundamental.
Yeah, the name Joe Navarro came up, former FBI, big body language expert. It's just amazing how much we say without speaking.
It really is.
Like someone pushes their eyebrows together, probably confused. Right?
Usually, yeah, or concentrating hard, but often confusion or disagreement.
And here's a key thing for you listening. If you're saying something and someone dislikes it, watch their lips.
Oh, absolutely.
Apparently, blood can actually drain from them. They get tighter.
That's right. Lips thin out, tighten up. The very reliable stress indicator.
Yeah.
Those micro expressions, those tiny physical reactions, they tell you so much.
Yeah.
The body often broadcasts the truth, even when words try to hide it. And it's interesting, too, how lack of confidence shows up physically.
Right. Insecurities aren't just feelings, they're in your posture, how you hold yourself.
Exactly. Slumped shoulders, maybe avoiding eye contact, fidgeting.
Yeah. But the good news, which I found encouraging, is that confidence isn't, like, fixed.
No, not at all.
Our experts said it can be trained. Even mentioned Elon Musk and, some of those power poses.
Right. The idea that adopting confident postures can actually make you feel more confident. It's physiology.
So a key takeaway there, even your posture, you can consciously work on that to project more confidence.
Definitely.
And here's something interesting about our expert's own view. When asked, what's your life's work in one word? The answer was just teaching.
Yeah,
It says a lot, doesn't it? About valuing sharing knowledge.
it really does. Because experience is valuable, but it's most valuable when you can help others understand it, use it, empower them with insights they might not get otherwise.
Right. And it's not just stuff we learn. Some nonverbals are, like, super old. Evolutionary.
Deeply ingrained.
Like gasping and covering your mouth. That's maybe from, ancient predators.
Okay.
Trying not to make a sound.
Precisely. Suppressing sound, hiding the face,
Yeah.
primal responses, or freezing when you hear a sudden loud noise.
Yeah. That deer in headlights thing.
Exactly. Predator detection systems kicking in. So a key insight for you is that some of our most basic reactions are echoes from way back.
And because they're so old, they're often universal, right? Across cultures.
Largely, yes. There are cultural overlays, of course, variations in display rules.
Yeah.
But the core responses to threat, comfort, discomfort, they tend to be hardwired. Very similar globally.
So, okay, understanding all this nonverbal stuff, what's the actual benefit for you?
Speed and accuracy.
How so?
You can assess situations and people much faster. You get a quicker read on their true feelings, their comfort level. That's a huge advantage.
Especially in negotiations, maybe? Or just, like, meetings?
Absolutely. Any situation where understanding the unspoken dynamics matters, like getting access to a hidden channel of information.
But you can't just focus on one thing, right? Like, someone crosses their arms doesn't automatically mean they're closed off.
Exactly. That's a crucial point. Holistic reading. You look at the whole picture, the face, shoulders, hands, posture all at once. You're looking for clusters of behaviors, patterns, not just one isolated gesture.
Okay, that makes sense. And it's not just about reading others, it's also about knowing yourself better.
Oh, definitely. Self-awareness is probably the starting point. Recognizing your own physical tells when you feel angry or nervous or happy.
Like maybe your jaw tightens when you get annoyed.
Right. Or your breathing gets shallow when you're anxious. Once you know your own baseline and reactions, you can manage them better. And you become much better at spotting deviations in others.
Self-awareness as a superpower. I like that.
It really is foundational.
We also heard about some simple, almost surprisingly basic techniques to communicate better.
Yeah, sometimes the simplest things work best.
Like just angling your body towards someone, tilting your head a bit when you talk, especially with kids. It makes a big difference.
Huge difference. It signals engagement, listening, openness, builds rapport almost instantly.
And even in, say, an office setting,
Yeah.
trying to get someone's attention, that head tilt can make you seem more approachable, willing to listen.
Yeah, it softens your appearance, makes you seem less demanding, more receptive. Small tweaks, big impact. That's definitely a takeaway.
It really is. These tiny adjustments change how people see you, how open they are.
Mm-hmm. Creates connection.
And back to negotiations for a sec. Something I found really interesting was using time as a nonverbal tool.
Ah, yes, controlling the pace.
Yeah, just slowing down how fast you talk, pausing deliberately. It signals you're in control.
It absolutely can. It disrupts the other person's rhythm, conveys authority, shows you're thinking carefully, not being rushed. It's a subtle power move.
Ultimately, though, the expert really stressed understanding the other person's needs and especially their fears.
Yes, fear is primary.
The brain is basically wired to spot fear, respond to it. So if you can understand what someone's afraid of, that's powerful.
It's critical because so much behavior is driven by that fundamental need for safety, security. Tapping into that, or at least understanding it, helps you connect and communicate way more effectively.
Okay, so that's a really good foundation on reading people, some things you can use right away. But now, let's switch gears to the really shocking stuff. The hidden world of espionage.
Right, not like the movies.
No, forget James Bond. The reality, according to the expert, is way more about just gathering knowledge, slowly, carefully, military plans, scientific research, business secrets.
Information is the currency.
And these spies, these hostile intelligence officers, they're often hiding in plain sight.
Masquerading, yeah. As diplomats, students, business people, could be anyone. It's a constant, often invisible battle for information.
Which is where the FBI's behavioral analysis program came in, using psychology, behavior analysis to catch spies and terrorists.
Applying behavioral science to national security threats.
And this led to an unbelievable story. Truly shocking. The Rod Ramsey case, the shaking cigarette.
Yeah, that story's something else.
So Ramsey's being interviewed in 1989 just as a witness about some missing documents in Germany. Routine stuff, supposedly. But then someone mentions a name, seemingly unrelated, and the cigarette Ramsey's holding starts to visibly shake.
Just that tiny tremor.
But a trained observer saw it, flagged it. That tiny nonverbal leak gave him away.
It's a perfect example. The body betraying the mind's secrets. A small crack, but it revealed everything.
And it turned out Ramsey and another guy, Clyde Lee Conrad, were stealing massive amounts of U.S. Army secrets, selling them to the Soviets via Hungarian intelligence.
And the scale was just industrial. They were videotaping documents. Thousands and thousands of pages.
Unbelievable. But here's the truly shocking part. Listen to this. This specific case was the most damaging espionage case in U.S. history, period.
That's staggering.
They compromised the U.S. nuclear go codes in Germany, the codes needed to authorize nuclear weapons. This left Western Europe totally exposed.
It wasn't just stolen intel. This was an active, immediate threat to the entire strategic balance. Potentially catastrophic.
Yeah. So these go codes, they involve safety links, right? PILs, but also the actual authority codes to arm and launch. Ramsey stole the physical card with those codes.
Which means
a hostile power could potentially replicate it, neutralize our nukes, maybe even use them.
the mind boggles.
The general who testified said flat out, if war had broken out then, the West would have been defeated. Assuredly. Within 3 days. Because of this leak.
3 days. Just, wow, the weight of that. All from noticing a shaking cigarette shows you the stakes involved.
Ramsey got 33 years in prison. Deservedly so. But the sheer gravity of what could have happened.
It's a stark reminder of the impact counterintelligence work has, preventing potentially world-altering events.
And it wasn't just nervous tics. There was another crazy story about catching someone living undercover as an American.
Right, the flowers.
The flowers. Apparently, Americans tend to carry bouquets flowers up, Eastern Europeans, often flowers down.
A subtle cultural difference.
But enough to raise suspicion, identify this guy, and he ended up cooperating, giving intelligence described as nothing short of breathtaking.
It just shows the level of detail.
Yeah.
Meticulous observation. Patterns, anomalies, cultural tells, that's the game.
And the whole idea of illegals just living among us, waiting, it's chilling.
It is. Long-term strategic patience.
So it makes you wonder, how many are out there? Estimates are all over the place, right? From a few percent of diplomats to like 85% for the Soviets back in the day.
Huge range.
Our expert figured maybe dozens in the UK or France, probably more here in the US just because we're bigger, more open.
Plausible.
But interestingly, they were skeptical about like huge numbers of illegal Chinese immigrants being spies, said Chinese intelligence prefers students, scientists.
Different methods for different targets. Leveraging academic and tech access makes sense now. Maybe even encouraging photocopying in libraries. Subtle.
Yeah. The takeaway is espionage is still very much alive, just maybe adapting its methods.
Always adapting. It's a constant threat, constantly evolving.
Okay, so after that, frankly terrifying look at espionage. We circled back to body language, digging a bit deeper.
Refining the understanding.
Yeah. And the expert just kept stressing how fundamental it is. It's our first language, before words. It's evolutionary reading comfort, discomfort for survival.
Absolutely. We're hardwired for it from birth.
Yeah.
Ignoring it is like ignoring half the conversation.
And get this. We make snap judgments, thin slice assessments in like 3 milliseconds.
Tiny fractions of a second.
And we're right about 75% of the time. Think about seeing a teacher for 2 seconds and getting a vibe. Often matches what students think after a whole semester.
It's that powerful subconscious processing. Our intuition is often surprisingly accurate based on these rapid nonverbal reads.
It starts even before birth. Babies in the womb mimic the rhythm of their mom's language.
Yeah, the cry actually has the intonation patterns of the native language. It shows how deep that drive for synchrony, for connection, really is.
Wow. So synchrony equals harmony, right?
That's the idea. Carl Rogers said that. Mirroring nonverbals, greetings, gestures, posture, it builds rapport.
So how do you do that when you meet someone?
It's subtle. Not mimicking like a parrot, that's creepy.
Right.
It's about matching the energy level. If they give a warm greeting, respond warmly. Maybe unconsciously adopt a similar posture or gesture rate. Even dressing similarly for a meeting can help. It creates comfort.
Okay, subtle alignment. Got it. And if someone's negative, like angry or upset?
Let them vent. Seriously. Trying to shut it down usually backfires. Acknowledge their feelings, let them get it out, then you can move forward. Validation is key.
Makes sense. Then we got into specifics. Eyebrow knitting the bit between the brows.
The glabella, yeah. Furrowing there usually means doubt, dislike, maybe confusion. Something's not quite right for them.
And touching the eyelid. Used to think it meant lying.
Yeah, the thinking has evolved. Now it's seen more as self-soothing. There are nerve pathways there. Interestingly, blind kids do it too when hearing bad news. Shows it's innate, not learned visually.
Fascinating. And lips are like an emotional seismograph.
Great way to put it. Full, relaxed lips usually mean comfort. Thinned, tightened, bitten lips. Stress. Big time.
Even shifting your jaw.
Can be a sign of disagreement, holding something back, like physically countering what they're hearing. Pay attention to the mouth area. It's very revealing.
And the neck dimple. The supernal notch.
Suprasternal notch, yeah. Very vulnerable spot. Touching or covering it often signals insecurity, lack of confidence, fear.
Another evolutionary thing. Protecting the throat.
Probably. Like covering the head if something's falling or covering the mouth. Protective instincts. Even pulling at your collar, ventilating, can signal discomfort, feeling pressured.
Okay, so recognizing these cues brings us back to negotiation.
Right, which is essentially just communication with a purpose.
Getting information, reaching a deal, whatever, but always communication. And face-to-face is best, if possible.
Ideally, yes. You pick up so much more in person. That richness of nonverbal cues.
Preparation is everything, isn't it? Knowing their style. Are they aggressive? Quiet?
Absolutely. You need to anticipate. And if they are aggressive, don't match it. Don't take the bait.
What do you do instead?
Control the tempo. Slow it down. Take pauses. Use time strategically. Have your own strategies rehearsed. And critically, write down your goals beforehand.
Why write them down?
So you don't get lost in the moment, get swayed off course. Stay focused on what you need to achieve. Know your role, your purpose.
Even little things matter, like looking at your teammate when they speak.
Yes, it reinforces their point, shows team cohesion. Gestures too steepling conveys confidence, but use it sparingly for emphasis.
And the worst thing is a still face.
Oh yeah, A blank, unresponsive face is often perceived as threatening, untrustworthy. It shuts down connection. Very detrimental.
So you need to plan everything. Who enters first, where people sit, even offering drinks.
Meticulous planning helps. Offering a drink, for instance, can subtly set up a nurturing or dominant dynamic. The expert even linked it to Stockholm Syndrome. The provider becomes a figure of comfort or authority.
Wow. The goal is equality, though.
Ultimately, yes, being treated as an equal.
Oh,
But you can use subtle psychological leverage, like sitting slightly higher. They did that with Ramsey.
really? Just raising the chair a bit?
Gave them a slight edge. Controlling brace is important, too.
Yeah.
And using an open hand to gesture, not a pointed finger. All these small things add up.
Which brings us to another shocking bit of news, the height dividend.
Ah, yes. Fascinating stuff.
We know about the beauty dividend, right? Good-looking people earn maybe 8% more.
That's the research, yeah.
But height, only 3% of U.S. guys are 6'2" or taller. But they make up 39% of Fortune 500 CEOs.
It's a huge disparity. And it seems universal. Height conveys power, authority, subconsciously.
So raising that chair for Ramsey wasn't just random.
No, it was a calculated move, leveraging that subconscious association. A small edge, but an edge nonetheless.
Mind-blowing. Okay, also the still face experiment with babies.
Right. Caregiver looks away, looks back smiling, baby's fine, looks back with a totally blank still face. Baby gets very distressed.
And it works on adults, too.
It does. Causes discomfort, erodes trust. People don't like interacting with a blank wall.
So on Zoom calls,
Nod. Tilt your head. Gesture. Show you're engaged. Don't just sit there like a statue. It's crucial for virtual connection.
posture again, and territory. Standing tall, breathing calmly. It starts in the mind, but shows physically.
Exactly. You want to project confidence, not neediness, desperation, or indifference. Though, important caveat,
Neurodiversity.
yes. Be aware that nonverbals can present differently for people on the autism spectrum, for example.
Right.
Don't jump to conclusions. But generally in business, posture signals confidence or frailty.
Like the job candidate's example. The relaxed ones seemed more confident, like they had options.
Right. Leaning back slightly, comfortable in the space.
Yeah.
It sends a message.
And confidence can be trained. It's not just something you have or don't.
Absolutely. 100% trainable. Start small. Get confident in one thing, build on it. Telling someone, just be confident, is useless.
Yeah, it doesn't work.
Physiology has to learn it. Competence breeds confidence. The more you know your stuff, the more confident you'll feel and appear.
So how do you exhibit it?
Model confident people. Use a deeper voice tone. Avoid rising inflection at the end of sentences that sounds like a question. Practice saying no, firmly. Lower register.
Occupy your space appropriately.
Yeah. Don't shrink, but don't sprawl like a clown either. Speak with cadence, rhythm like Churchill or MLK. It's powerful, gives listeners time to process.
Hand gestures.
Purposeful ones. Open palms often signal honesty, care. Closed fists, maybe fear or tension. Tuck thumbs. Often stronger fear or insecurity. Eye contact too, keep it in the face generally. Look away briefly to think. Use gaze for emphasis. Actionable things.
Definitely. We even got feedback on my interaction with the expert.
Oh, right, the microanalysis.
Apparently, arms akimbo meant I'm in charge. Subconsciously.
Territorial display.
Yeah. But coming around the table quickly to shake hands was good. Speed means care.
Yes, pro-social. Even babies recognize that quick, warm approach. The compliment on attire was noted too.
Suggestion for improvement.
Way to beat, longer standing, sit down around the same time as the guest. Avoids being seated while they're still standing can feel a bit dominant, especially in negotiations. Subtle point.
Good to know. What about taking notes? I do it. Helps me focus.
It's a balance. Our expert cautioned against, say, typing constantly during therapy. It breaks the connection, hinders observation.
Observation is more important than writing everything.
Often, yes. Jot down keywords, follow up, sure. But humans need that face-to-face interaction. Constant note-taking detracts from that vital visual connection.
Okay. Handshakes. Quick tips.
Fingers down, equal pressure. No bone-crushing Trump squeeze, no jerking, not too limp. Vertical alignment.
Cupping the hand. Okay.
With people you know well, maybe. A light touch on the upper arm after the shake is a bit more personal. Builds connection. Keep it brief, respectful.
We also looked at a video of a leader analyzing discomfort cues.
Right. Stiff arm, neck touching, face crimping, forehead rubbing, eyelid flutter, face touching, that big exhale.
All signs of psychological discomfort.
Potentially, yes. Especially clustered together. You might see it in followers, but less common or desirable in a leader trying to project calm confidence. Valuable for assessing leadership under pressure.
Then we shifted to traits of exceptional people. Developed traits, not innate.
Right. Things you can cultivate.
Number 1, self-mastery. Relentlessly pursuing knowledge, skills. Building something internal no one can take away. Self-imposed learning.
Creates resilience, competence.
2, observation. Seeing details others miss. Like how Velcro was invented noticing burrs sticking to socks. Hire good observers.
Crucial for innovation, problem solving.
3, communication, especially nonverbal. Shows care, empathy. Often more powerful than words. Think funerals.
Conveys emotion, connection.
4, action. Action equals caring. Promptness matters. Doing things shows you care more than just saying it.
Absolutely. Walk the talk.
And 5, psychological comfort. Making others feel safe, at ease. Humans crave comfort, not perfection.
Like Steve Jobs making computers intuitive, less intimidating.
So in negotiations, aim for that. Let them talk, offer small steps, be attentive.
Exactly. Create a comfortable space, even amidst disagreement. It fosters trust, cooperation.
Okay, now for another really serious, kind of shocking topic. Narcissists.
Oh boy, yes. Important topic.
The statistic is startling. Maybe 2% of the general population, but up to 22% of CEOs show narcissistic traits.
It's disturbingly high in leadership positions, yeah.
And a malignant narcissist, defined as
Overvaluing self, devaluing others, self-centered, disloyal, zero interest in others' feelings, constant lying.
and the impact. Devaluing you, yelling, putting you down.
It's destructive. Soul-destroying, frankly.
So dealing with them. First step is recognizing the pattern. Using checklists, maybe, like from Dangerous Personalities.
Recognition is key. Seeing it for what it is. But then comes the really stark warning.
Which is,
The trajectory doesn't favor you. It just doesn't. They are caustic. They will victimize you emotionally, mentally, maybe financially or physically.
wow, that's blunt.
It needs to be.
Yeah.
Ask yourself, how long are you willing to take it? Because your body keeps score. The stress takes a toll.
Can you fix them? Win against them?
No, flat out no. There's no cure for malignant narcissism. No winning. They lack introspection. Don't expect normal behavior.
So the advice is,
Get out as soon as you safely can. Disengage. Cut ties. Remember the expert's warning. 1 trait is bad, 2 is terrible, 3 is lethal if multiple personality disorders co-occur.
how do you tell narcissism from just strong self-belief?
True narcissists have a corrupt belief system. They genuinely believe they are infallible, superior, entitled. It's not just confidence. It's a fundamental distortion. Apply that lens to leaders you see in companies and countries. It's vital for self-protection. It really is critical knowledge for navigating the world safely.
The expert also reflected on how all these experiences changed them.
How could they not?
Yeah. Dealing with homicide, suicide, espionage,
Yeah.
piecemeal, which maybe prevented burnout. Realizing most people are just witnesses, victims. Often good, kind people.
Law enforcement is for them. Counter-espionage is about national stakes,
Yeah.
different worlds.
Dealing with extremists, realizing some belief systems are just unchangeable.
Accepting you can't fix everything. Focus where you can help.
But there's lingering pain, right? Unsolved cases like that Brigham Young abduction.
Yeah, those stick with you.
But also hope. Seeing young people eager to learn. Seeing the good in people, selfless acts, quiet resilience.
Finding the light amidst the darkness. But the darkness leaves marks too. The smells of crime scenes, the images, they stay.
Sword in the hippocampus, yeah. Visceral memories.
Def.
Career highlights. Graduating the FBI Academy, super competitive.
Huge achievement.
And actually leaving the FBI, feeling like you've done it all, ready to write, teach, share that knowledge.
A sense of completion, moving to the next chapter. Very understandable.
And the most important question maybe we didn't ask.
The expert felt we covered the core. The importance of connecting with people properly, genuinely, maintaining those connections.
The people business, ultimately.
Exactly. And nonverbals are key to showing trust, value, care. Creating that psychological comfort for long-term relationships. The biggest lesson, relationships are invaluable.
And approachability is key to building them.
Absolutely. Which tied into the final question.
Right, our tradition. The question from the previous guest, what do people say that they like about you?
And the answer was,
You're so approachable, which really fit everything we discussed. A conscious effort to be accessible, treat everyone with respect.
it speaks volumes, doesn't it? Humility, connection.
So reflecting on all this, the digital age makes connection harder sometimes, lots of miscommunication potential.
For sure.
But these insights about basic human behavior, nonverbal cues, They feel more important than ever.
They really are timeless, fundamental skills for navigating life.
Yeah. And I definitely recommend checking out the experts' books, their new YouTube channel too. Jonavarro.net has the link.
Thank you. Good resources there.
So our final thought for you today. Think about those silent signals, the ones you send, the ones you receive every single day. How much are you really noticing? Are you aware of the subtle power plays, maybe just in the height of a chair? Or the bigger hidden battles, like in espionage, where a shaking hand could literally risk a nation's secrets? What other hidden forces are out there shaping our world, shaping our interactions, just waiting for us to observe them, understand them, and maybe, just maybe, use that knowledge for good?